Where you are, from your phone to your TV, to your desktop or laptop, to your tablet, with the all-new Afro Mobile, enjoy these stories uninterrupted, streaming anytime, anywhere, and on any smart device. Locally locked in with live events, TV, radio, movies, exclusives, and on-demand shows and more. Afro Mobile is your getaway to the Pearl and the whole of Africa. Search and download Afro Mobile from your app store today and immerse yourself in the stories shaping us today. Afro Mobile, authentic African stories.
Bagenzi harohe kitweka ekinkumanya kikahumba ruhanga ubu yemera hansozi olengeresi amare
Fort TV ikara osemerirwe.
Hello viewers, welcome back to yet another episode of Mind Talks with Sandra. Thank you so much for tuning in to Fort TV. Good evening everyone. Hope everyone had a very good day as I did. I'm your host Sandra and it's always a pleasure hosting these wonderful, beautiful spaces. So this is Mind Talks with Sandra where we hold mental health conversations openly. So this is a safe space, no judgment, and we do believe that healing can start with just a simple conversation. So today we are going to talk about something that silently controls many lives. Those are the limiting beliefs. And I want to start with a question. How many opportunities have you missed? Not because you weren't capable, but because you believed you weren't. Think about them. Take a second and think about it. So, how many rooms did you shrink in? How many dreams did you delay because you felt like you are not ready or you're not worth the dream? So how many times did you tell yourself, maybe I'm not the one? So feel free to reflect on all those questions because this is going to be a very safe space. And tonight it's about freedom and freedom from stories that were never yours to carry. And this is going to be a very, very safe space. No shame, no guilt, just awareness and growth. So feel free to reflect without judging yourself. We're going to just cause awareness and for us to do better for ourselves. Okay, so we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs, and maybe you might be asking yourself, what are the limiting beliefs? So limiting beliefs are the thoughts that we accept as truth, even when they are not facts, like the things you always tell yourself, even if they're not even facts. But in your mind, they are facts because you decided to believe them. Things like, I'm not good enough, I'm still too young, I'm too old, marriage is not for me, I'm too emotional, I'm too loud, I can't start again, and many, many things. Those are beliefs that you've been telling yourself and becoming a lifestyle. You've started believing them and now they're becoming a lifestyle and they've held you back from achieving what you're supposed to achieve or to reach your full potential as a human being. So feel free, as I told you, this is going to be a safe space as we're going to dive into that discussion. And I do believe after this show, you're going to feel better and also find ways on how you can do better for yourself. Stay tuned. Don't touch your remote. So, you notice something that most of us, we don't always see, I feel. We always say, I am. That because something started as an experience and now you're telling yourself you were like that. Let me say like that. And a belief repeated long enough becomes identity. like you've maybe failed in a previous workplace or relationship or in a business, and instead of maybe telling yourself I feel this and this, you'd say I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, maybe marriage is not for me. So it is now it has elevated from just a feeling, and now it is, you identify yourself as it. So, and now it is part of you. So instead of maybe trying to start again, trying to do, so the sad thing, most of these beliefs were planted before we even knew how to protect ourselves. Let me take an example where you grew up from, and you grew up from a family where they could tell you how ugly you are, how lazy you are, how you not good enough, how you do not perform so well in class, you're stupid and all that. So some of the things, these beliefs started when we weren't even old enough to protect ourselves. And now you start to identify yourself as those beliefs. You start to tell yourself that you're not good enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not great enough in each and everything that you do. So let me tell you a few more other things where these beliefs come from. Maybe you can reflect back on your life and say, maybe where did I get this belief? Where did I get this lifestyle? Because as I've told you, it starts as someone tells it to you or an experience. You start to feel it, and now you start identifying yourself as that experience. And I'm here to tell you that these limiting beliefs are not random; they are just learned. And and some, as I've told you, some come from the childhood. Let me take an example. You used to be in class, and the teacher used to tell you how you know. Maybe most of us math wasn't something that we were good at, and every time they knew you were you're the last in class, or not even the last, but you did perform to the expectations, and the teacher could maybe tell you you're stupid or you weren't praised enough. So you grew up thinking that maybe if I failed in school, if I did not make it in school, that means I'll not be able to make it in life. And these other beliefs come from our cultures. Maybe some of us, the girls, we're told you're not supposed to be too ambitious. As a man, you are told not to show emotions. And as a young person, you are told to wait your turn. And we are always told these things, and we start to identify as those things. Maybe let me take an example as a girl. They tell you if you study so much. I remember I wanted to do my master's, and someone told me, like, Sandra, if you study too much, no man will ever marry you because they don't like educated women. Or even you're a man, you're growing up, and we're always told that men are supposed to be strong. And every time maybe you find yourself in a vulnerable state, you feel like, okay, I've lost. I'm a man. I'm supposed to be strong. I'm a man. I'm supposed to be strong. And also maybe we young people, we are always tempted to not to be so overambitious because we are told to wait for our turn. Like everyone tells you, you're still young, wait for your turn. So that's how culture can affect us into starting to see less from ourselves. And also some of the traumas we encountered as we're growing up. Remember, as I've told you, these beliefs don't come just randomly. You get them from somewhere. So some of us, we went through traumatic events as we were growing up, not even as we were growing up, but in our past life. So when you tried once and failed, when you trusted and got hurt, when you loved and you are heartbroken. So those are the traumas that we always carry. And most of us, when we experience those such traumas, they start to affect us in each and everything that we do, like in our daily lives. So you were told, maybe you trusted someone, and they disappointed you at a certain point. You're always thinking, maybe I'm not a good friend, I had to do better, maybe there's something I did wrong, or you're just asking yourself, maybe I can't trust anyone. And yet you, like, we all need people to survive this life. So, and it's now affecting you because you feel like maybe you're not good enough, you're not a good friend, or you're not a person for relationships, and now you're labeling yourself as a person who is unlucky with relationships. You're like, okay, I think marriage is not for me, relationships are not for me, because maybe you went through that traumatic event. So, and one thing that you should know about your brain is there to provide safety. So for it, every time you go through such experiences, for it is there. protect you because that it's its role. And your mind starts to, like, every time you go through an event, a painful event, your mind creates a belief to protect you. So it tells you, do not try again because you started that business and it failed, or do not trust again because you trusted some people and then you don't, they disappointed you at a certain point, and now your brain tells you, please don't trust anyone, or do not try again, or do not, you stay small or hide. So but protection turns into prison. So instead of you to try out different things, to meet different people, or to like to put that idea into work, you're always told not to, your brain always tells you not to try again because you failed. So I had a friend who was at university and also had she had started up a business, and now I think the university became so stressful and she had to get a friend to sit in her business, and then as she's maybe completing her courses, her exams. So what the friend did, she just took all the money. And when this girl came back to sit into her business, the money was nowhere to be seen. So the business had to collapse. So, and right now she feels like starting up a new business, it's really something that is really hard because she lost her job. She later got a job, and then she had to get, maybe she was like, okay, I need to do a business. And she came to me and we had to plan a business. And then she failed to start the business because she feels like if she starts another business, it might feel like the other business. Yet the other business, maybe she invested so much money. And now she feels like she's not worth to start a new business. So these limiting beliefs are like, you're like as if you're in prison. You cannot move any further. You're held on to something. So we want to see, how do these limiting beliefs come up. So the belief, thought, emotion, action, result, reinforced belief. So that belief comes into your mind, or you get that experience, and then you're like, okay, maybe you started up that business and failed. So it comes into your thoughts and you're like, okay, I think I'm not good enough. I think I don't have enough knowledge to start to do the business. Maybe I didn't have enough money. Maybe I'm just stupid. Other people are doing the business and they're excelling in it. So it becomes a thought, and then it becomes into an emotion. You start to feel it. As I always say, this, like, we are all connected. Like, your brain is connected to your body and your body is connected to action or to your behavior. So that's why most of the times, if you want to break any cycle, if you want to break any behavior, it's either you break the behavior and it takes it back to your brain, or you change the thought. That thought will turn into an emotion or a feeling and becomes into a behavior. So that's how the brain works. It is connected. So it comes as a thought, it becomes a feeling, and then it becomes an action. So even this is how your limiting beliefs really come up. So you first believe it, it like the experience happens, and then you think about it, it becomes a feeling, and then an action. So when you see the results, you're like, okay, let me take an example of friends, and one started a business and they failed. You're like, oh, okay, if I started my business, I would have failed. So it becomes, those are the results you're seeing. You're like, okay, like you get something to justify your emotions or your actions. So now it becomes a reinforced belief. It starts to become part of you. Okay, me, when it comes to relationships, so that's how things start, and that's how that's how your belief becomes, it turns into like your identity. So, and maybe let me take an example. You try to apply for the scholarships or to apply for a job, and they really, really didn't give you. Personally, when I was done with campus, I tried to apply for jobs, and every time I could apply, not even at camp, I was still at campus, I think, by then. So I could always apply for jobs, and everywhere I could go, they could tell me, we cannot employ a student. or maybe you said that I cannot be trusted. So everywhere I could go, I could put in my money, my energy to write about CV and all that, put in my transport. Those days of campus, you don't really have enough money, so you put in your money, you go, someone interviews you, you're so good, and when they get to know that you're a student, you'll be like, okay, we're not going to give you a job because you're still a student. So I reached a point where I was like, okay, why would I even apply for any other job? So it's that failure starts to become part of you. You're like, okay, why would I even bother to apply for this? Like most of us, that's how the belief becomes an identity with you as a person. That's why most of us we have the same qualification, but you find a person, someone is like, okay, me, I will make it in life, whether I have any no, that saying, whether I have someone to connect me or not, I have to make in life. And then there's this other person who says, me, I have no connections. So let me just be there. Opportunities will find me. So there are two people, and one is motivated. They feel like even if I don't have anyone to push me, I'll get the job. And then there's this other person who always says, I have no one to push me. I have no one in government, so I don't think I'll get nice jobs. So those are two people. And one believes that they can make it, and the other one believes they cannot. So maybe they also have their opinions about why they couldn't make it or they cannot make it. So those are the limiting beliefs we are talking about. And we maybe have given different context about the limiting beliefs. But most of us, let me give you different signs or different scenarios. Maybe you can look up to, and you're like, okay, I think I'm in a limiting. I have some limiting belief that is pulling me behind. So you're procrastinating constantly. You're always saying, maybe you've gotten a chance. Someone has told you there's this. Oh, okay. There's this opportunity. Different jobs are there. You can apply, and you're always procrastinating. You're like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll apply the other day. I'll apply the other day. That means procrastination doesn't just come the way you think. It just comes because your mind has something in it. You're like, even if I apply, I might not get it. Even if, like, you're always pulling yourself down, and now you keep procrastinating different tasks, and also you over explain yourself. You want people to really understand you why you're not doing something. You think, nah, yeah, I would have done this, but when I was growing up, this happened. Like, you always want to make sure that you tell people your side of the story so that they can believe you, so that you cannot do what you're supposed to do. So that means you're having an limiting belief somewhere, and you shrink in big rooms. We have people who are not, and by the way, the confidence, when you're given an opportunity maybe to present your organization, or when you go to any gathering, then you find many people, you feel like you don't fit there. You feel like, okay, you're out of place. Those people, like, you're always shrinking. Everywhere you go, you feel like you do not fit. You do not fit in in that in that room or in that space. So that means you have something that is telling your mind that maybe we're not supposed to be here. We're not beautiful enough. We're not smart enough. We're not bright enough to be around here. So that means you have those things that are pushing you behind. And you settle in relationships. You settle for less. Let me say it like that. You're always asking for the bare minimum. Like, you're in a relationship, but you feel like, even if they give me this, like, you're the kind of a person who always asks for the bare minimum. That means you don't know your worth. I'm sorry to say, I'm not judging anyone, but you are always asking for the moment you ask for the bare minimum, that means you have something that is telling you that you're not worth of the big things, you're not worth of the good things, you're not worth of the people who care, and you're always asking for less. So that means you have something that is telling you maybe you're not good enough for the better things, and you always sabotage the good things. We know those people are always sabotaging the good things that might come their way, and that might be even on you as a person. As I talked about procrastination, being inconsistent, all you always having to explain yourself. Sometimes you're sabotaging the opportunities that might come your way. into telling people that maybe I'm not good enough. People give you opportunities and you're like, okay, you give it to someone else. Maybe I might not be able to do it. You give it, like, you're always sabotaging yourself and you're always afraid to be seen. Most of us really have ideas, and right now we have the era of social media. You have those ideas, but you feel like putting yourself out there. You feel like, okay, you don't want to be seen. Like, you have the ideas, but you fear to put them out there. You fear to sit in front of the camera to tell people what you have. So that means you have something that is letting you behind. You're like, okay, if I post, will I be able to go viral? Will I be able to be seen? Will I be able to, when people comment negatively on my, sometimes you have those limiting beliefs. What do you think, what makes you different from other people who come on online here to present what they have and people really like their content? They learn something from their content. Like, we are all, as long as you have the information, please sit on that camera. You speak to people. You never know who will be touched by your story or will be touched by what you have to say. So, and you compare yourself excessively. Like, we know we have those people who are always comparing themselves. Remember, one thing that I learned about comparison is a thief of joy, because we will never be the same. Someone will be somewhere better than you, or you always be somewhere better than you. And every time you try to compare yourself with other people, that means you're shrinking yourself. So you're trying to look at other people. This one has something greater. This one has something better than mine. This one speaks more than me. This one is good at this. This one's smarter than me. Like, the moment you compare yourself, it kills your confidence as a person. So, and maybe, as I told you about the limiting beliefs, how they came up. Some of us, when you're growing up during our childhood, we used to be compared. Our parents could be like, "Urabo mwana wa neighbor yafunye zino, gwe wawachi wafunye zino." That neighbor is really so disciplined. Why aren't you disciplined? That your friend is like this. So some of us, we grew up being compared to other people. So now we feel like every time you're supposed to do something, you have to compare yourself to other people. And that is really not good for you, because sometimes we call it being humble, but sometimes it's fear. You're trying to, like, okay, I don't want to be extra. I don't want to show people that I know this. I don't want to over show off and all that. And you're like, okay, I'm trying to be humble. But I feel like that is fear, because they put something into your head, or something happened to you and it took all your confidence. So you feel like if you're an extra person, if you're more than anyone around you, you're being disrespectful, or you're not being considerate. I'm not telling you to be to step on people's heads, but every time you feel like you have to shrink for other people to feel good, that means you are under fear. As I told you, these limiting beliefs, you feel like you're in prison. You are in your own prison. So, like, when you go, let me give you a task. Today, when you go back to your bed, think about your life, reflect about your life. As I told, this session is more of us to reflect on ourselves, to be better, not to judge ourselves or not to pinpoint anyone, but you go back and ask yourself, where am I shrinking? Where am I asking for less? Where am I explaining myself so much, and like, so that I cannot do a certain thing? Where am I feeling that I'm not worthy? Where am I feeling that I'm not capable? So try to think about those things, and you will know, maybe if you did something better, or if you tried to do something, you wouldn't be in that situation. So you'll know that the moment you change the lens, the narrative will change. Like, have that in mind as a person. And I want you to close your eyes for a moment and think about that belief that has held you back the most. And now imagine your life without it. Just think about that one belief that has really held you back. And then think about your life, how your life would be without that belief. Who would you be? Who would you try? Sorry, what would you try? What would you start? What would you walk away from? Like, start to think about that life without that belief, and tell me, tell it to yourself and write it down. And what you have to know, that you are not your past. You're not the words they spoke to you. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your fear. I have this, there's a book I was reading called The Courage to Be Disliked. And this guy said, when you go to the hospital, he gave, I was like, when you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you, um, you are sick, you're having that cold because you went to maybe you went out without a jumper on. It was so, maybe it rained on you, and that's how you got the cold. And then the whole day maybe you spent in the hospital and the doctor is just explaining to you why you got a cold. Won't you get pissed? You'll be like, then give me the solution. Give me the medicine. What can I do to be better? That's what you always ask. So that means your past is really good to maybe for you to learn from, but it is not as important as you think. Because every time you try to ask why me, why me, why me, why me, why me, you find yourself asking the whys. You're always living in the past and you're failing to get a solution to the problems. So you're not your past. Whatever someone talked to you, or maybe you didn't get a chance to grow up from a good family, or you didn't get a chance to grow up with your parents, or you didn't get a chance to finish your school, you didn't get a chance to do the things maybe you think you, if you had them, would have been better. And now ask yourself, and may there some of us, we live in our past because we have those mistakes we did and we are now regretting. Maybe how I wish I didn't meet this person, how I wish I didn't meet them, how I wish I didn't trust this kind of a person and all that. You are not your past. It's high time now. You're like, okay, the past happened and now I need to do better for myself. This and this happened to me. I cannot change it. It already happened. But what is the best thing I can do? And start to think about your life without that thing that has been holding you back. And you don't those words, you don't the words spoken over you. As I say, some of us we grew up and our parents couldn't, when they get angry, they could tell us weird words and they would make us shrink. And now you're holding on to them like my mother told me. You see, if it was someone else, but my mother told me I'll not make it. I think I'll not be able to make it. And then, like you hold on to those words which were spoken to you. Now it's high time you left them and you chose to find other ways on how best you can beat that leap. And you're not capable, you are not evolving, you are not allowed to grow beyond the version of you that survived. So many, many things that we have been told. We have been told many things. We have passed through different life challenges. We have failed many times. We have been disappointed many times. But tonight, do not listen to them. But we are here to rewrite our story. You're here to rewrite your belief. You're here to change the lens so that the narrative can also change. Because if you do not do that, you'll still be the same. You always hope. You always be in hope. You're like, oh, I wish one day I can be this and this. How I wish one day I can be this and this. You always keep on wishing and wishing and wishing and wishing. If you do not do any action, well, there are certain things we can do, and by the take this serious, if you do not do anything about any situation you're in, you will keep on wishing, you keep on holding on to the past, you keep on giving people. And in that same book, as I was reading, this guy said it's us who give our trauma a meaning. So that trauma you give to something that happened to you, it is like you as a person, you're the one who gives that meaning to that trauma. That's why most of us, maybe you find someone, they really went through a really hard relationship. It was so toxic, it was really so hard, exhausting and all that. And you find someone's like, okay, that was him or that was her. I can still do better. I can still get someone better for myself. And then you find another person saying, with whatever I passed through, I don't think I can get someone else. I don't think I can get someone who can love me. I think marriage is not for me. So that means those are two different people. And everyone tagged or gave a meaning to their trauma. So it's up to you to hold on to your trauma, to praise it, to make it govern your life, or to be like, okay, this happened to me. It wasn't my wish. Or maybe it is me who put myself into this, but I can still do better. As long as I'm still alive, I can still do better. So thank you so much for always tuning in. Thank you so much for being on from when we started up to now. And this is my talks with Sandra. It's always a pleasure doing this. It's really something that I do that I like. And remember, the most powerful story you will ever tell is the one you tell to yourself. Yeah. So thank you so much for tuning in. We are always live on for TV from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Always tune in every Wednesday. So thank you so much for always tuning in. We really love you. You can check out our pages. That is for TV, and also check out on my pages. That is Sandra Oserin My Care Network, and that is an organization dedicated to supporting young people's mental health. So if you're triggered by this discussion, feel free to reach out. And also, it has different counselors. So if you need any counseling, professional help, please feel free to reach out. And we do school and community outreaches. So you're still free to reach out for those services that we offer. Thank you so much. You've been good listeners. Bye.